Number 10. Alex Jones's wife. Police arrested the wife of Alex Jones at the couple's house in Austin, Texas for domestic violence. It happened on Christmas Eve 2021, with Alex allegedly fearing for his life as his wife pummeled him. According to the police report, Alex said his wife hit him over 20 times, beat him with a soap bottle, and tried to bash him with a stone ball. If you're not sure who Alex Jones is, he's the maniac conspiracy theorist who founded InfoWars years ago. Pretty much every social media platform has kicked him out, but he used to be a pretty big name. His wife, Erica Wuff Jones, is just as nutty as he is. The police arrested her after Alex called them to complain that she was beating him and threatening him with a club. When asked about what happened later on, Alex responded he loves his wife and cares about her greatly, but that there appears to be some kind of medication imbalance going on with her. He also said Erica accused him of cheating, which was what started the violent altercation as the pair were bathing their child. Number 9. Angry football wife. Police arrested the wife of NFL player Dwayne Haskins in July 2021 after she knocked out the football player's tooth. Dwayne plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers and is a pretty big name. He married his wife, Calabria Gondrezic Haskins, a few months before the incident in March. When the pair traveled to Las Vegas to renew their wedding vows less than 6 months after the original ceremony, things got a little heated. The couple was staying at a luxury hotel when they started fighting. It began with a verbal altercation about what they wanted to do for the evening. Dwayne wanted to hit the club with some of his friends and wasn't interested in waiting for his wife and her friends to get ready. This caused her to become so angry that she launched herself at him, knocking out Dwayne's tooth and busting his lip. Police arrested her and took her away. Even though she's supposed to appear in court this August, the couple has already made up. They're posting pictures together again on Instagram, and chances are prosecutors will drop all the charges. Sadly, Haskins died around 7 a.m. on April 9, 2022, after he was struck by a dump truck while he was crossing Interstate 595 near Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on foot. He was in Florida to train with several of his Steelers teammates. Haskins' wife said that he had run out of gas and was walking to a gas station when the truck hit him. 8. El Chapo's wife. The wife of a legendary Mexican drug lord El Chapo has gone through quite a transition these past few years. She was a nobody, an obscure wife married to a terrifying drug dealer. Then her name was everywhere. She became just as famous as the Kardashians, right before she shamed herself and was arrested. The story of Emma Coronel Aispuro is one of pure insanity. Her name only became known after the police arrested her husband and sentenced him to spend the rest of his life in prison. She exploded on social media. She was supposed to launch a fashion line, but then she appeared on a reality show, and she was getting filthy rich just being the wife of a criminal. The authorities don't like these kinds of things. In June 2021, she pleaded guilty to a whole slew of charges, including illegal drug distribution. For her role in the Sinaloa cartel, the courts gave her 3 years in prison. She could have faced life, but the prosecutors asked that she receive the shortest sentence possible. They have locked her up for now, but she'll soon be out and still young and wealthy enough to have a pretty great life. She should be out of prison by the time she's 35. Her husband is 64, but she's significantly younger than him. She married the drug kingpin when she was just 17, and he was 50. Before the law even considered her an adult, she was sitting at the top of a Mexican drug cartel. Number 7. Reese Witherspoon and her drunk husband. Reese Witherspoon was at the top of her game in the early 2000s, until about a decade ago. She has done little recently, but she got herself sent to jail with a charge of disorderly conduct back in 2013. It was all because Witherspoon flipped out while in Atlanta filming a movie called The Good Life. She freaked out because her husband, a Hollywood agent by the name of James Toth, was being arrested for drunken driving. Trooper First Class Jay Pyland had pulled the Hollywood couple over. It didn't take long for the officer to see that James was drunk, and as he was busy arresting James, Reese Witherspoon abused the cop verbally. She accused him of being a fake police officer. She got out of the vehicle when the trooper warned her not to, and to be quite honest, she kind of went full-out Karen. She told the officer that as a US citizen, she could stand on American ground wherever she wanted. And it was about that time that Officer Pyland put her in handcuffs. But don't worry, the handcuffs didn't stop Reese Witherspoon from running her mouth. She asked if the trooper knew who she was. And when Pyland said he had no clue who she was, Reese told him he was about to find out the hard way. In the end, the whole thing was wildly embarrassing. It might be part of the reason we see little of Reese Witherspoon anymore. Her husband was way over the legal drinking limit, and she must have known that, seeing as she was in the vehicle with him and acting belligerent. Number 6. Slimy Bollywood husband. Police have arrested the husband of Bollywood star Shilpa Shetty for some pretty bizarre crimes. If you're not familiar with Shilpa Shetty, all you need to know is that she's huge in India. She also spent a brief time in the spotlight in Britain, thanks to winning Celebrity Big Brother. The police arrested her husband Raj Kundra in 2021 in Mumbai. This was following a very long investigation by the police, who finally gathered sufficient evidence to label Raj as a key conspirator in an adult film production ring. Adult films may be legal in America, but not in India. Indian authorities activated one of the most recent laws in 2015 to punish those publishing or distributing obscene materials with up to 7 years in jail. But Raj went above and beyond just distributing material. Officials have alleged that he lured women into making these adult films with him personally. Although he's married to one of the most famous actresses in the country and is already filthy rich. He lured one woman in particular, using the fake promise of getting her a job in acting. It was one of the slimiest things a scumbag could do. But Raj has a long history of being slimy. Authorities banned him from cricket activities in 2015, following accusations that he was fixing matches. And even now that police have arrested him for coercing women into making adult films with him, his wife still supports him vocally. Number 5. Ted Nugent's gun-toting wife. Police arrested the wife of the legendary rock star Ted Nugent in 2013 for trying to take a handgun onto an airplane. It happened in August when Charmaine Ann Nugent put a handgun in her carry-on luggage and tried to get it through airport security. The security officers identified the gun and arrested Charmaine immediately and took her into custody at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. When the police questioned the rock star's wife about the handgun, she told them she had forgotten it was there. It was in her bag, but she didn't even think about it when she tried to catch a flight to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. According to what she said, Charmaine had been carrying a handgun ever since she started receiving death threats. But even with her license to carry a concealed weapon, she couldn't bring it onto an airplane. She was arrested and later released, and she hasn't made that same mistake since. Number 4. A strange kidnapping plot. The wife of Instagram influencer Jay Mazzini was arrested in 2021 for being involved in a plot to kidnap and terrorize a man from Fort Lee who had posted negative comments about her husband online. And then, after her arrest, to make things even more outrageous, she tried to convince the victim to drop the charges against her. Jay Mazzini's real name is Jabara J. Igbara. He made a name for himself on social media by distributing enormous stacks of cash to random people throughout New York City. Earlier in 2021, the FBI busted him for scamming some of his followers, of which he had nearly 1 million at the time, out of over $2 million worth of Bitcoin. Then came the kidnapping. Together with his wife, Jomana Danoon, they plotted revenge against the Fort Lee man who said mean things on the internet. Jabara picked him up at a 7-Eleven under the pretense that they would talk over a coffee. But when he got into the Land Rover with the internet celebrity, so did 2 of Jabara's associates. They immediately spooked him, and he jumped out of the car and ran away. The crew chased him, beat him, and then dragged him back into the SUV. They took his clothes off and held a machete against his throat, saying if he didn't remove the negative posts on social media, they would kill him. When all was said and done, they dropped him off in Passaic. Threats or no threats, the victim immediately called the police. A SWAT team arrested Jabara and charged him with a whole heap of offenses. 2 days later, they arrested his wife for conspiring with her husband. Authorities brought her up on charges of kidnapping, witness tampering, and bribery. Number 3. Sarah Evans's estranged husband. Police arrested Sarah Evans's husband, Harry Barker, in 2022 for trying to run the famous country singer over with his car in Nashville. Prosecutors charged Barker with felony aggravated assault following the attempted hit and run early in the morning. If you're not sure who Sarah Evans is, all you need to know is that she sings country music. Her husband Harry is a former NFL player. Even though the two have been married since 2008, they consider themselves separated. But apparently, Barker was having a lot harder of a time with the separation. Sarah had just left a party at her neighbor's house and was passing her driveway when she saw her husband parked out front. He spotted her as well, and he stomped on the gas and tried to back his vehicle up into the country singer. But he missed. He missed by a lot, and then he took off before Sarah could call the police. But he finally did return to the scene, where police were waiting to arrest him before he did something else crazy. Number 2. The Murder of Phil Hartman. Comedian and actor Phil Hartman was famous in the 90s for his work on Saturday Night Live. On May 28, 1998, his wife shot and killed him at the age of just 49. You might not remember Phil's comedic talents, since this was over 20 years ago. He first earned his spot on Saturday Night Live back in 1986. Then he spent 8 years on the show. In 1995, he joined the cast of News Radio, which went on for 5 years. He was well liked in the comedy community. He had lots of Hollywood colleagues, but his life at home was dark. His wife Bryn was his third, with his previous 2 marriages ending in divorce. The couple had 2 children together, but Bryn also had a long history of drug and alcohol abuse. The substance abuse ate away at her sanity, until one day she snapped. She waited for her husband to arrive at their home in Encino, then opened fire without provocation. Number 1. Shark Tank Boat Crash. Kevin O'Leary is the filthy rich Canadian businessman and star of the Shark Tank series. His wife got into some major trouble when she crashed a boat and killed 2 people. Her name is Linda O'Leary, and police originally charged her with the careless operation of a vessel following the incident on August 24, 2019. It happened on Lake Joseph, near the Canadian city of Toronto. Her husband was on board and was a family friend, but it was Linda who was driving the boat. Linda steered their vessel directly into another, killing a man named Gary from Florida and a woman named Susanna from Ontario. The incident injured 3 other people, but the event killed Gary and Susanna. Officials charged Linda in 2019, but the verdict didn't come back until 2022. Considering how incredibly rich and influential this family is in Canada, it should come as no surprise that a jury found Linda not guilty. Her defense lawyer blamed the incident on the craft of the victims being unlit and the fact that there was no moon in the sky. The other boat was sitting in a dark place on the lake. There were no cottage lights on and no moon for her to see by. And so, a court found that Linda, the wife of one of the richest people in the country, was in no way responsible for driving her boat into a group of other people. Would you rather be accused of something you didn't do, or get away with something you did do? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe and come back again soon for more exceptional videos. See you then, bye!